some truly outrageous things that have gone on in the state of Wisconsin that have happened at the same time as and as part of the effort to destroy Scott Walker. A similar effort, almost identical effort, was made to destroy anybody and everybody who supported him and voted for him or donated money to him. And this effort was conducted by law enforcement. Think of it this way. What do you think the greatest fear of the innocent is if law enforcement comes calling? Have you ever thought about this? Maybe some of you have experienced it. You are totally innocent. Nevertheless, you are being pursued. What is your greatest fear? Your greatest fear is the system is going to totally fail you, and that there is nobody to stop an out-of-control cop, nobody to stop an out-of-control prosecutor, nobody to stop a corrupt judge, and that you're going to be had no matter the fact that you are terribly innocent. That is a fear a lot of people have, and it was routinely occurring in the state of Wisconsin during the recall efforts of Scott Walker and during the general elections and campaigns of Scott Walker. Now, everybody knows what he went through. Everybody knows what his family went through. What nobody outside the state of Wisconsin knows until now, because National Review has uncovered it in great detail, a story by David French. Nobody knew what just average, ordinary, nameless, faceless people who happened to just donate to him or vote for him went through as well. Midnight raids on their homes, police with battering rams, breaking down their front doors at midnight, at 1 or 2 in the morning. Never explained why law enforcement was after them. They were forbidden to tell anybody what was going on. The neighborhood saw it all happen. The neighborhood, people in the neighborhood, what in the world did that family do? My God, they got scared to death. The cops didn't have to explain anything. Whatever the prosecutor wanted, and his name is one I hope you will never forget, as well as the judge involved in this. I hope neither of these names do you ever forget, because they are the essence of liberal Democrat corruption run amok with no limits and no stops whatsoever. It is frighteningly outrageous. It's the kind of stuff that Hollywood makes movies about, that when you watch, you might fear it, but you would never, ever dream of it really happening. That's why it's in a movie. So I want to try to explain in a little bit more detail what this story is about, but ultimately you're going to have to read it at National Review. I got it Sunday night. They sent me a pre-publication copy, a PDF file. And I started reading it, and I said, there is no way that I'm going to be ready to do this justice by Monday, which was yesterday. So I spent a little bit more time on it. So hopefully I'll get to it today with just enough of a summary to intrigue you enough to make you go read it. You've got to read this. You have to. It's a National Review, and it's by David French. In fact, let me give you the actual title of the story: John Doe's Tyranny. Wisconsin conservatives have been subjected to secretive, baseless investigation. But that subhead, that doesn't even come close to telling the reader what he's about to discover. It's about the John Doe laws in Wisconsin, which we have discussed on occasion on this program. John Doe means the state can literally investigate anybody without telling them why. And they can deny them lawyers. It's incredible. They can literally set out to destroy, and the only thing standing in the way of it is the honor system. If you have a corrupt prosecutor, which this story has, and if you have a corrupt judge, which this story has, And if you have a police department that is also corrupt, it's happened in Milwaukee mostly, then you can pull this off. There's even a quote from a couple police officers who were forced to participate in these midnight raids on innocent people who had not done a thing other than support Scott Walker. That's all they had done. And cop car after cop car, cop after cop, SWAT teams, you name it, show up with battering rams to break into these people's homes. They're kicked out of their homes at midnight at 1 o'clock in the morning, not allowed to take anything. They're not told why. They're not allowed to explain to anybody that this has happened beside the neighborhood which can see it. Years after the fact, mothers are reporting their young kids that were at home when this happened still traumatized. People are reporting today that they get scared and traumatized and panicked when they see a uniformed police officer just walking a beat. They hightail it away. It is the fear that I think a lot of innocent people experience when law enforcement is pursuing them. I know, I've been there. And I know a number of things. Law enforcement's never doubted, other than the civil rights community. The media doesn't doubt them. Law enforcement can leak anything they want about anybody, and the media writes it, and that it becomes fact. Because and even average, ordinary Americans, why would the cops lie? They take it on faith. Why would a prosecutor lie? Why would a prosecutor say somebody's guilty if they're not? They don't have time to waste on this. There are too many guilty people to go get. They will waste time on the innocent. The innocent in Wisconsin were guilty because they were conservative. The left in Wisconsin was losing everything. They were losing their union domination and control. Scott Walker was decimating all the systems they had put in place, and they literally lashed out in panic, anger, and you name it, to punish people who had voted for Walker, who had raised money for him, who they thought had voted for him. It was the kind of thing that Vladimir Putin does and we all laugh about, because that's what we expect in a tyrannical dictatorship like the Soviet Union or Russia. And we find out that it can happen here and has happened here, and there was no mechanism to stop it. Prosecutor's name is Chisholm, John Chisholm. And I hope his name is never forgotten. He has tarnished the reputation of prosecutors all over this country. He belongs right up there with Mike Nifong. In fact, Mike Nifong is a piker compared to what happened in this case. Nifong is an amateur compared to what happened here in Wisconsin. The one puzzling thing about this to me, there's one puzzling thing about it, is Scott Walker doesn't talk about it. Now, I didn't until I read the National Review piece. You know, I knew the John Doe laws, and I knew they'd been abused, and I'd heard this or that, but I did not know until Sunday night just how outrageous the application of the John Doe laws. This is a term that has been developed to describe what happened here. Lawfare, as in warfare, except this warfare conducted by law enforcement. Lawfare. And Walker hasn't talked about it. I mean, everybody knows what he went through. Everybody knows the attacks on him. What nobody outside Wisconsin knows, or very few, they will now, is the same stuff was done to hundreds of people that supported him. One more little piece of information about these Wisconsin raids. Everybody, and by the way, they were all innocent. Nobody was guilty of anything. They hadn't done anything. The John Doe law allowed for anonymous prosecution. Law enforcement was simply allowed to target anybody they thought might be guilty of a crime under the terms of this law, and they had to tell nobody, including the accused. This violated the U.S. Constitution in so many ways, and one of the things they did, just think of a battering ram breaking down your house. You live in suburbia, a battering ram breaking down your house at 1 a.m., and cops, jackbooted or otherwise, come and steal every telephone and every computer, and you never get them back. And they don't tell you why. You're left to assume it. I mean, that's just one of the things that happened. And it was all done by a bunch of aggrieved loser at the ballot box, liberal Democrats, who thought the state was forever their personal fiefdom. And then Walker had to go and beat them 3 times, and they just lost it. And in the process became exactly who they are. The one plus in this, if there is a plus, is that the left in these incidents in Wisconsin, they threw down all the camouflage. They got rid of every mask. They hid behind nothing. Exactly who they are, if left unchecked and unopposed, was made obvious.